Hello, happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's ready to talk about all of these devices dropping and maybe some you haven't heard of. There was a couple that I didn't know of, but come in, have a seat, grab a coffee, and let's get chatting about all these devices. I'm going to wait for a few more people to join in before we start diving into the devices, and I'm going to pop out the chat so I can see a little bit better. Let's go. Hope everyone's doing well. So much to talk about. I know the first topic I'm definitely going to be touching on is the QWERTY keyboards. So if you're not interested in QWERTY keyboards, go ahead and skip ahead in this particular live stream. I'm going to be going over, of course, the drop of the Unihertz Titan 2 Elite, and of course compare it a little bit to the Clicks communicator that everybody is very excited about. And I'm also going to touch on the Linux phone, or the Jolla phone to be exact, that runs Linux, which is Selfish OS. As somebody who uses a Jolla phone, I think I can give some perspectives on how the new device may be a big improvement compared to the previous version. And I'm also going to go over some Pebble devices. So Pebble has a line of smartwatches. They're kind of going back and updating their older devices. And I have one right now that I'm using. I have an older device and I have a pre-ordered device, and I have a device that they've came out with that I have a lot of questions about, that I'm not really sure who's going to use it or what the actual purpose is of the device, but we're here to talk about it and we're here to discuss it. So definitely going to be diving in on that one. And and I have some other news regarding my personal device use at the moment. I'm struggling again with smartphone addiction. I went really way far to the other side. I tried to remedy it by removing a bunch of apps, changing my smartphone to a smaller smartphone. It didn't work. I had to go more extreme. So I'm back on the digital minimalism train right now, and I'm using the Light Phone 3. So that is my daily driver because I can't be trusted with anything with internet access. And I just get too distracted. I get too sucked in. I lose all of my time, all of my productivity, all of my life because I'm an addict. I know a lot of people say it's a willpower thing. I know what I'm doing is stupid and a waste of time. It's not a willpower thing. It's honestly my brain just trying to find some dopamine, I think. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating when I know that I'm doing something that I don't want to be doing and I'm still doing it. It's compulsive. It's really annoying. So I'm resetting myself. It's not really a 2026 thing. Usually when I go off and use my devices too much, I try to reset myself when I notice that it's getting very bad. So I'm doing a little reset. I don't know how long it's going to take me to be able to use my smartphone again, but I'm on that journey. I'm on that digital minimalism train. I come back, I switch around a lot for devices, and most of it is out of necessity. So I don't just have devices to review, to create videos. I have devices that do have purpose in my life. And in this video today, we're going to go over some devices that I have pre-ordered necessarily for 2026. And these are devices I think that could improve certain aspects of how I use tech, from an accessibility perspective, also from intentional use, and maybe even some digital minimalism use cases that could work out for some of these devices. So I'm trying to give a different perspective. There are so many devices coming out in 2026. It's impossible to cover all of them. CES, of course, there was a lot of new devices being dropped, a lot of excitement around certain devices. But I think some devices were kind of ignored or not talked about as much. And that kind of sucks because there's so many things to go over and to discuss. And was the Titan 2 Elite from Unihertz. So I'm going to switch over my screen. So if you didn't see this device drop this week, it is another QWERTY phone. And the timing is strange, of course, because the Clicks communicator was also released about a week or two ago, January 2nd, if I'm trying to be correct. And Unihertz came right back out and said, hey, we have competition. They mentioned it on their Reddit. They said, look, we have competition. I didn't understand what they were talking about when they said that. I thought they were referring to the Titan 2, which is just a larger version, of course. And the Titan 2 Elite is smaller. It's similar to the Titan Pocket, I would guess, in size range. Of course, it is much more pocketable. It's a new QWERTY, so everyone's excited. We don't know any specs on it. I don't have any specs. There is an image floating around. So I took this image from Jake from Returning Retro. I took it off of his YouTube community post because I didn't have this image. I'm not working with Unihertz, so I don't have that email connected to them. But I was really curious about the dimensions of the device, especially the thickness. I think this render, especially for the render here, but more so for the render here, the device looks very thin, but it's not. It's not super thin. I think there's a lot of thickness to it, probably, of course, for the battery and things like this. So I think these images or these renders, more or less, because I'm sure the device is not even a prototype as of yet. And same for the Clicks communicator. These devices there's no working versions of them yet. So it's wait to be seen what it will look like, how it will perform, and all of those things. But it does have a very different look than the communicator. And I think that's what people are interested in. The Clicks communicator, if I go back up, of course, has more of a chiclet style keyboard. It has looks like plastic body, whereas the Elite, it's looking a little bit more premium in my perspective. The keyboard is very much more BlackBerry reminiscent, of course, with the different dividers and the key design itself. I think it looks good. I'm not sure how it's going to perform. There are a lot of major differences between Unihertz and Clicks on how they're going to be supporting their devices. The length of the Android support, most notably, I think Unihertz does have some work to do when it comes to updating their devices and their software in general. So we'll see. Clicks is putting out a new device, so I can't compare it to previous devices. We don't know how the software is going to perform. There's so many ifs and things hanging in the air at the moment for these devices. But I'm really happy to see another QWERTY being dropped in, and more competition, the better. The more choices we have, the better prices we have. There are so many more options than there were last year already. So you also have the ICO Mind device, Mind 2. I'm not sure. So many names and numbers. But that has a keyboard case that you can attach to it. So there's so many projects. There's also the Q25 that's coming out or is in the process of coming out. And yeah, I'm happy to see more keyboards. It almost feels like this device was kind of a targeted towards the Clicks communicator. It feels like they're in a direct conflict or direct competition with each other, which is interesting to see. I see there's a lot of people taking sides, which is it's pretty funny at the moment because we don't have a working device for either of these. So it's phone looks better than the other because we don't really have them in hand. We don't really have them working at the moment. So it's all speculative at the moment. And it's who can communicate better, who can market better at the moment. And I'm not a big fan of marketing. So I'm staying out of this debate, this competition. I'm not picking sides. I'm not backing either of these devices, to be honest. I'm still waiting for my Zinhua Q25 BlackBerry. So that's pretty much where I'm standing. And that's kind of the mood for the year for me. I'm trying not to buy too much stuff. I know that I'm a tech kind of channel that reviews things, but I want to review it from something that I would actually use and will use because I don't want to just have stuff piling up. It feels a bit overconsumption. It feels a bit gross and icky. I don't want to be that kind of person. I don't want to I'm not trying to sell stuff, honestly. That's what I'm trying to come from. I'm not getting paid to promote most of these companies. These are purchased with my own money. If somebody gives me a device, I will be very transparent about it and try to give my honest opinion. But honestly, it's hard to give your honest opinion when you have companies backing you, and companies know this. So I try to stay away from that as much as I can. Pre-ordered the clicks, but I like more options are coming and people to choose from. Yeah. Honestly, it's a taste thing for the clicks or the Titan 2. Both very different looking devices, but also very similar looking devices as far as the camera placement and things like that. I don't think one is better than the other. I don't think one is worse. I think it comes down to what do you want? What do you like? What do you want to use? Of course, again, the Titan 2 or the Clicks communicator. But I did, if I go back to the Clicks page, actually, I did back the power keyboard because, big caveat there, I think the power keyboard is a good device because you can use it across multiple devices. And I already have a bunch of devices. I don't need a new phone in order to use a keyboard. I would like a keyboard that I can use on my old phones. And if it has a battery pack, great. I don't think I will use the charging capability for my personal use case. But I find that, yeah, it would be great to type in things on the TV. It would be great to use on a tablet. It would be great to create shortcuts as somebody who's visually impaired. To use those keyboard shortcuts to open specific apps would be very, very helpful. And I just like the concept of an accessory that can be used across multiple devices. I think this is where I'm kind of going with using things I already have, but improving them with newer things, if possible. I'm trying, again, to be more minimalist, not buying too much stuff, but if I see something that's interesting, like the power keyboard, I'm going to jump in on it. And plus, I find that the power keyboard price was very interesting. I think they priced it very good at $79. For the pre-order price, I think it's going to jump up to $99 when it's released. So the price is right. It works with devices I already have. I don't have to buy a new phone to use the keyboard. So that's why I went with the power keyboard over the Clicks communicator. I think the Clicks communicator is a great device. I think it's something that a lot of people will obviously use and probably use as a primary device. I don't think many people use companion devices or in the realm of companion devices, to be honest. It's very overwhelming when you start talking about secondary or companion devices. And yeah, it's an interesting, of course, not concept, but an interesting device. A lot of people backed it. I think they were selling a device every 13 seconds or something crazy, but that included the power keyboard. So we don't know exactly how many pre-orders went down for the communicator, but I can assure you a lot. They're doing pretty well. And I think that's what pushed Unihertz to hurry up and push their device out. Maybe they weren't ready to put it out yet or announce it, but when you have competition putting their device first and getting people excited about it, you see other companies hurry up and try to throw their hat into the ring to try to get those precious pre-orders. So yeah, the QWERTY keyboard wars are on, and I'm here for it. More competition, the better, more options, and I think it's a great year for the QWERTY fans out there. I wish there were more options for other language keyboards, perhaps AZERTY or Quartz or whichever, or Cyrillic. I mean, there's so many keyboards that can be created. It just sucks that we all have to use the standard QWERTY by default, but it is what it is. We'll be waiting till the other versions come out. So it's the cheapest way for a lot of people to get Moto Razr 2024 to use with the Clicks case. Was going through prepaid visible straight $199. Wow, could unlock it for 60 days. Yeah, it'll require 12 months concurrent to unlock a device. It's going to be leading to phones thrown in the landfills. Yeah, I think, especially for 2026 myself, I know there's a lot of new devices coming out, but I want to go back and revisit some older devices that I already have, or older devices that are on the used market that could be updated or still used in 2026. And there's so many devices just sitting around waiting to be purchased. And if we can buy older refurbished phones or have phones that family members give to us because they got new phones, anything avoiding crap going to the landfills is going to be a better option. Because if we can't replace batteries, if we can't fix our devices the way we want to, there's just going to be so much waste and so much buildup of garbage from especially tech and things like that. It's disheartening. There are so many precious minerals and so many things mined around the world that are killing people at this point just to provide the minerals for those phones and computers. And if we can't use them as long as possible, repair them, or find ways we can upgrade the operating systems and make them last a little bit longer, it'll be better for the planet. We don't always need a new device to make our lives easier. I think we can adapt the devices we have, whether getting a different accessory, putting in a different operating system, just changing the look and feel of the device can really extend the life of that device and gives us a little bit more options. I'm not anywhere near perfect for that, but I'm trying to do better. 2026, another year to really try to hone in on how I'm using things. And not only that, prices are going to be shooting up more and more because of the RAM shortage, thanks to AI taking away all of our resources for RAM. Phones are going to get more expensive. Computers are going to get more expensive. Everything involving memory is going to get a lot more expensive. Electricity is getting more expensive. Water is going to become scarcer. It's just so many resources going into AI that is going to impact all of tech in a negative way that we didn't foresee when we were building all of these data centers, of course, and companies making the choice to make more money and sell their memory to AI companies rather than selling to consumers, which is going to, of course, negatively impact everybody. So I think we're all going to have to get a little bit more creative on how we use tech and how we keep things running for a little bit longer. It's going to get a little bit more interesting, I think. There's going to be a lot of Frankensteining, a lot of using laptop memory in computers. There's going to be a lot of different things that are going to be innovated in order to keep things lasting a little bit longer or using things a little bit differently. Maybe optimizing the things we have, of course. We don't always need new. We just need to optimize some things and make it last a little bit longer. New QWERTY phones run the MediaTek, which don't play nicely with custom ROMs. Another reason that I didn't go with either of those devices, but especially the communicator, is I hate MediaTek for not using custom ROMs. Very good point. I have a couple devices that have MediaTek in them, most notably my tablet. I have a Lenovo Tab 8, I believe, or yeah, smaller tablet, but it also has MediaTek. I wanted to put Lineage on it, and lo and behold, MediaTek is locked down like nobody's business. MediaTek won't work with a lot of phone manufacturers without an agreement of not unlocking bootloaders because they don't want people putting custom ROMs with their particular processors. It's not a company I'm a fan of, to be honest. And when I see MediaTek, I'm like, it's really not a hype for me. And I have a lot of doubts too with the communicator. A lot of people are going to say, well, they're going to unlock the bootloader and things like that. And if they're working with MediaTek, I highly doubt it. I have a doubt. I'm not sure. And chances are it's probably not going to play nice with other custom ROMs out there, even if the bootloader's unlocked. So there's that. And with that in mind, there is a device I definitely want to go over. I think I'm going to do a deep dive video on this particular device because for those of you who know on this channel, I'm a big fan of Linux. Now, I was converted to Linux and therefore Linux phones. There's not many out there, but this one in particular, I'm a huge fan of, and it is the Jolla phone. So I'm going to switch over again, and I'm going to switch over to the Jolla phone. So this one is just called the Jolla phone. It's not the community edition like I have. I currently have the community edition Jolla phone, the C2 to be exact. I have this model. I have it here on my desk. I have a camera too to put on there, but it's not really picking up right, my camera. The quality is not great, but I can definitely give you my opinion on how it's been performing. I'm still using the Jolla phone. I've used it different ways. I've used it without Google services. I've used it with micro G to use any Android app that I wanted to. Some work okay, some not so much. But I wanted to really go over the pre-order because this device has me super excited. Not only because, of course, it's running Sailfish OS, which is their own custom Linux operating system, but it's a community created phone. So all of the specifications, all of the choices that were made for colors, size, so many factors going into this device. They run polls all of the time. And I remember when the poll came out for this particular device last year about the size of the device. I was really disappointed because if you go down, let me go down a little bit further. There was a poll going out for people to choose the size. There was 5, 6, and 7. I really wanted a 5-inch display, but I know a lot of people like bigger displays, so I was iffy. I was hoping it wouldn't go to 7. The Jolla C2 community phone is 6.8-inch display. It is massive. It is not very pocketable. It is not a phone that I like carrying around, to be honest. And that's one of the major defects of the phone for me. I can't use it as a daily driver. It's just too big. I use it as my business phone. I leave it on my desk. It just does what it needs to do, and I really enjoy it. But it's just too big. So I'm really happy that there was a vote for a new size. Everyone ended up going with a 6-inch display, and I think in the end it's going to be a 6.3-inch display according to their specifications. So I'm very happy about that. For reference, a 6.3-inch display is pretty much a Google Pixel size. So the standard Pixel size, not the giant Max version of it. But it's going to be a manageable size. I think it's a size most people can get behind. It's usable. It's a little bit more pocketable. It's not the most, of course. It's not the communicator lengthwise. It's not a BlackBerry device, but it's a compromise. And I think this is what this device is. Since it's a community voted device, there are compromises. Not everyone's going to agree. It's pretty much the majority who decides on this device, and I think it's very interesting. That's why people hate small phones so much. Yeah. I don't know why people hate small phones. I love small phones. I'm visually impaired. I understand more screen size would be more accessible, but I don't want to live on my phone over a screen. I'd rather use a computer and a monitor if I really need to see something rather than my phone. But most people are using their phones as computers, so it's really annoying. And yeah, I'm okay with this. There are some new specs. I have the specs for the old C2 because I have to reference it. I use the C2, I have it. I can tell you what some of the weaknesses are for it, and I think it will be remedied with the new Jolla phone. Of course, it's going to have 5G. It's going to have 12 gigabytes of RAM. This was decided before the giant RAM shortage, so I'm not sure if it's really impacting for production as much for this device, but 12 gigs of RAM. 256 internal storage, of course. You have an expandable SD up to 2 terabytes. I'm really loving seeing all these devices having expandable memory because, again, I'm a huge fan of just carrying around all of my important files or all of my music files on a SD card so that way I can switch devices without having to connect to clouds or rely on anything to transfer anything. So, yeah. Like what you have Pixel 4a, 4G. Yeah. Not sure what they plan to do with the Elite. Yeah, I did talk about the Elite in the beginning. I'll jump back to the Elite. Don't worry about it. I'll definitely do a little jump back. I did discuss it in the beginning. I probably shouldn't have, but I did. I like the Elite. Do I like it more than the communicator? I don't like either of them, to be honest. I like the look of the Elite, but I'm not confident in the support for unihertz for long-term usage, even though they will have to have security updates if they want to sell in Europe, because the European Union passed the rule for 5 years of security support. But unihertz doesn't do major Android updates that often, so it's a big if. And that's why I'm supporting the Jolla phone. This is my big phone support for the year. I don't plan on getting any other new phones, just because I think devices like this are super ultra important, not only to be away from Google and to be away from Apple, also for Europe. I think for digital sovereignty, having a device that's created in Europe and targeted towards the European community, having a Linux operating system gives us a little bit more freedom and a lot more possibilities for being a little bit more independent when it comes to the tech sphere. It's something that I worry about a lot, and I worry about a lot for governments using American software companies for government, running the whole government, basically. It's kind of worrying. And I think if we start using Linux more obviously for computers, but also for phones, it's only a win-win. And I'm definitely 100% supporting this project. I backed it a little bit later. I'm not gonna lie. If you're interested in backing this project, they're on the batch 3. Batch 1, it came out, I think, between Christmas and New Year's. And when it was dropped, it was already sold out so fast. They only had 2,700 units for the first batch. The price was so good, but I missed it. I was just like, yeah, I'm going to wait on it a little bit. I'm somebody who wants to see the full specs before I jump in on a specific device. And I wasn't sure about the screen size, what it was going to be. I was worried it was going to be the 7-inch, but no, it wasn't. So when the batch 2 got released, I hesitated again and I waited too long, and it sold out so fast. People are really excited about this device, and so am I. And I ended up jumping in on batch 3. So they're currently in batch 3. With each batch, they have special things that become unlocked as more batches are created. This whole project, this whole company, and how they're running the device and how it's being released is something I'm really fascinated and passionate about. I love the fact that people can vote and contribute, add their thoughts and opinions, and really make a product that most people want to use, especially in this realm. But I have hopes with Sailfish OS that it will be supported more and more, and people will start to understand it is a possibility. It's getting good. It's getting a lot better. I'm using Sailfish OS 5 at the moment, and honestly, the C2 is not perfect. It's not the highest spec device. It doesn't have the fastest processor. It doesn't have the most RAM. Can it feel a bit sluggish or laggy on certain apps? Yes. I'm not gonna lie. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. It's not the worst device I've used. I've used a ton of cruddy Android phones to tell you that it's not the worst. It's not the best. It's in the middle ground. And I think that's progress for a Linux device. And I really excited. The worst thing I could say about Sailfish OS is their accessibility settings. It's severely lacking. And this is because there's not enough support. Of course, it's a smaller project. It's a smaller company. I've spoken with Jolla, and they're very passionate and very knowledgeable about their product, of course, but I think they could improve a lot on accessibility, even for simple displays. The largest font size for the C2 is very small. I can't use it as a daily driver primarily because of the font size. I have to use options to zoom. It's not there. It's something that I hope will improve. I tried to put a custom launcher on Sailfish OS, and it didn't work. So if they can give options to improve the display size, because if the display size can't be made large enough by default on the operating system, this impacts all of the apps on the phone. I can go in certain apps and modify the size and the display, such as WhatsApp, no issue there. But other applications rely on the system font sizes, and that's where it runs into some accessibility issues of not being able to see things properly, especially for text, of course. It's a big problem with a lot of niche devices, especially in the digital minimalism sphere, but also in Linux in general. People are trying to make things better. I'm hoping it will become easier to develop tools and options for accessibility with AI being able to help out a little bit, take on the weight of the development process for some of those features. And it's something that is a big problem for Sailfish OS, and I hope it can be remedied in the future. I really have high hopes for this device. I really want it to do well. I really want people to like it. And I think there are so many things that are cool about this device. Of course, it has a switchable back. You can change the color, similar to the Clix communicator, so you can swip out your colors. But more than that, they're working on something to have accessories attached to your device called the other half. And they did this with their first version of the Jolla phone back in 2013, but they're bringing it back. And the other half community innovation program is pretty interesting. You can see their first version, they had a keyboard you could attach to the device. This device, if you really want to use the Linux aspect of the device, it does have terminal, of course, but it's a pain in the butt to type with the on-screen keyboard. So of course, the power keyboard, I will be testing to see if it works with Sailfish OS. But if you had an option to attach a keyboard, would be cool. They had this for the first version. I'm hoping they have it for the second version. But the new other half, they're giving some options. It's in the voting phase right now. Nothing's been completely decided. So what's great is that if you have an account or create an account with Jolla, you can sign in and you can vote on these specific aspects of the project that's rolling out. Still working on it. And they have different categories that people can vote on. So possible, the other half categories. So utility for aesthetic themes to make it look good. Digital well-being. So for those digital minimalists out there like myself, productivity. So people really want a keyboard. This is the theme for 2026. We all want keyboards, and this device is no different. And you can see the results of what people are voting for. Productivity won by a landslide. So people really want keyboard, work, personal separation. And you see, of course, creative and e-ink display. My God, that would be amazing. Like I would vote for that in a heartbeat. Nobody really cares about digital well-being. It's not a subject matter that people want to broach, I guess. Even aesthetics got ahead. Like that's crazy. So that's an interesting results for that one. I think it's still open until tomorrow, the votes, to the 15th, if I'm not mistaken. There's also other feature priority. Which features do people want from this particular, the other half back? Essentially, it's going to be a clip-on back you put on the back of the device, and you can add additional features to your device. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. And the fact that people are voting for the specific items that could be attached or possibly used with the other half, even better. Let's see what people want to add. I think the keyboard is going to win all of these. People also want an external e-ink display or small OLED, extra battery. This battery is quite big for this device, I think. And if we want to talk about battery life, I don't know if it says it on here. I think the battery life is 4,000. I don't see the battery life mentioned here. Look at the top. Sold out. I saw the battery life somewhere. The specs are kind of all over the place. by design, pure, replaceable. I know that the battery is replaceable. The back is replaceable. The battery is replaceable. So that is also something good for the environment. We're looking for devices we can keep a little bit longer. And I don't remember the size of the battery. Oh, here we go. Battery approximately 55 milliamp. So I think voting for another battery is a bit dumb, to be honest. As somebody who uses the Jolla C2 community device, the battery life works really well. It's optimized for Sailfish OS. It's not running Android where it's taking a bunch of your data and information. It has no connection to Google. The battery by default lasts a super, super long time, more than people would think. So I think if some people are voting for battery, they're probably comparing it to a device that is just sucking out the data. And I think they need to keep in mind that this is running Sailfish OS, and it's just the battery, you could easily get multiple days out of it. And for me, who uses this as a companion or a business phone, I've let it sit on my desk for like a month and didn't have to recharge it. Honestly, I don't use it that much to browse or do any content consumption. I just use it for calls and simple messaging. Easily a month because I don't use it that much. So I'm just curious to see what other people want to put on it. There's so many options to vote. But with that being said, the whole device itself, in the Jolla phone production, creation, they vote for price points, they vote for everything. This is just for this one particular aspect of the device. But this, if you go back on the main community page for the Jolla phone, every aspect is voted on for this device. From the size, the colors, the cameras, the memory. People have a choice in how this device will be created, what will be added to it. There are some features that will be removed. I didn't see a headphone jack. So for those of you who really, really want that, I know for myself, I'm partial to it. But there is a privacy switch, and a real privacy switch, not a kill switch that is very vague. It is going to be something that kills everything on the device, basically. And privacy switch, very important. I think it's a big plus. So yeah, I'm very excited about the Jolla phone. Very excited. Support for Android apps with Jolla app support. This is new. Currently, if you want to use Android apps with the Jolla phone, you can install Aurora Store and install your Android apps that you need, but some Android apps need Google services. So I'm wondering if they're referring to that using micro G and being able to download those services. So if you want Google specific apps, you're probably going to need micro G for this device. And I know for myself, setting up micro G with Jolla was a bit of a pain in the butt compared to other devices I've used. It's not impossible. It just takes a lot of adding specific permissions and making sure that the phone recognizes those permissions. It's not as straightforward as it could be. So maybe this will be better for the next phone. I'm hoping. Use a replaceable battery, physical kill switch. And yeah, I think it's something people should consider. If you're really into Linux, especially if you're living in Europe, this is targeted towards the European community, Norway and Switzerland, but it has all bands and will be usable in the US, Canada. They're just not shipping there. So if you're looking to get the device and have it shipped to you outside of the EU, you're probably going to have to go through another service where you can order it, send it to that service, and that service can send it to you. It will add some additional cost, of course, but it is possible, and the phone should work. It will have all the bands. And it's such a beautiful phone. I like the look of it a lot more than the current community phone. It's just too big. Now they have no interest in data collecting, but that can change. Yeah. No company has interest in data collecting until they realize they need the money. I'm interested to get your take on the Q25 accessibility features when you get yours. Yes, I'm waiting for my Q25 from Zinwa. So if those of you don't know, Zinwa is doing a refurb version of the BlackBerry Q20 or BlackBerry Classic, and they're putting Android on it, of course. I've heard that they're in talks with other custom ROMs, so I'm really excited about that aspect of the project more than just having Android. I don't really care about Android devices. I'm not motivated to purchase any, but I'm really curious about the accessibility. I think a major factor with all of these new QWERTY devices coming out. So if I go back to the Titan 2, or even if we talk about the Clicks communicator, to be honest, there's a lot of discussion, of course, about creating keyboard shortcuts, which is very accessible for people who don't want to rely on visual cues and can just press a button and pop open a specific application. That's really useful. But with this aspect ratio of these displays, most Android apps aren't designed for this aspect ratio anyway. So by default, some elements of the UI might be crunched in or overlapping each other. But if you add additional things such as increasing the font size, increasing the display size of your apps, this could add additional friction and problems with your UI when you have a device with a non-conform aspect ratio. It's not a classic slab of glass that most apps are designed to display. There's responsive design, of course, for a lot of these applications that are adapted to increase or decrease depending on the screen size, the display size decided by the user, of course. But when you start shrinking and making weird aspect ratios, it can completely F up everything you're trying to see when you start adding accessibility on there. And I know this from experience because this happened with the minimal phone. When the minimal phone came out, there was obviously issues with UI for certain apps. It's not designed for that size. But when I started implementing the accessibility sizing differences of increasing my display size and font size using the Android accessibility settings, crap hit the fan. I could unlock my device. I couldn't put in the code because the screen size was increased, but it didn't pop up the numbers enough to be able to type in to unlock the device. And unfortunately, with the minimal phone, my fingerprint reader broke more than once or just disconnected or lost the fingerprint. And I have to put in the code to unlock the device. And if I couldn't put in the code because I have accessibility features, I was locked out of my phone a lot of the time. And it was super frustrating. So I think these new devices could have accessible options, again, such as mapping your keys to what you want to do. But I have major doubts as far as the applications, the Android apps specifically, being optimized for this smaller screen ratio. This is going to be the same problem for the Clicks communicator as well. I think already here, this is just a render. I can't already see what's on the screen for the screen render. So this is worrying that if I have to increase the display, I'm going to have to modify, of course, the launcher because Niagara Launcher by default is not accessible, but they do have accessible settings in Niagara Launcher. So I think, or I hope that that will be modifiable, but I have really bad feelings about the aspect ratio messing with my apps. And that's why, again, I didn't back either of these devices because of the accessibility question marks. I did back the Q25 because I'm all about refurbing older devices, adding new specs inside. I like the philosophy of updating older things laying around. And since there was so many Q20s laying around, I'm really glad that Zinwa picked an old BlackBerry that is quite common and just tried to update and see what could happen. So I'm really supportive of projects like that. And that's why I'm still backing that project and can't wait to receive it. But I do have questions about the accessibility. It will probably be a problem. And unfortunately, the world is not designed for those of us who have a disability. That's just, unfortunately, part of the game. We have to try to make it work and try to find options that work best for us It's like a mad science project every time I get a new device. What will it hold in store? Will it be accessible? If not, can I make it accessible? It's I could rant all day. The problem with accessibility is that everyone has different needs, different disabilities, even variations within the same conditions. So it's impossible to make everyone happy or to make everyone be able to use the device the way they would want to. Unfortunately, it's just not possible. And I understand this. I'm not telling companies you suck, or I'm not going to ever support you because of it. I just want to have a little bit of flexibility myself to be able to adapt it to what I want it to be doing. That's all I ask for. Whether that's adding an accessory such as the power keys, which I think will be a great accessibility tool for a lot of people in the visually impaired community, particularly, or people with fine motor skill difficulties. I'm thinking of people with Parkinson's or things that make it more difficult to use touchscreens. I think having a keyboard could really change how we use tech in a positive way for a lot of people. Think of older people too who really struggle using on-screen keyboards. It could make a lot of people's lives a lot easier for a lower entry price than a whole new device. So it just really opens the market for accessible tech, but not designed to be accessible tech. And there's a lot of devices like that that come out as, ooh, cool and innovative, but we can adapt it to be accessible as well. Another project, or another product, I should say, that I am always happy to back in general. I'm a fan person. I don't like people who fan specific companies, but I do fan this company, and I really love the marketing. I love the philosophy. I love everything they communicate about this company, and that is Pebble. I'm a true blue Pebble fan through and through since the beginning, and I have the new the Core 2 Duo. I need to do a video on it, but I wanted to be able to use it for the past month just to really understand and really get the ins and outs, positives, negatives, the full review of the device. I do have this device. I do love it. It is very reminiscent of the original Kickstarter. I love Pebble. There's nothing I can say. They make products that do what they say they're going to do, and they don't oversell it. They don't try to be a fitness tracking app. I just track my steps and sleep, and that's all I need. I don't need a heart rate monitor. I just want basic stuff. I think if you want to upgrade and do better and do more things, of course, they have different options. But they did drop the Pebble Round 2. And somebody who had the original Pebble Round, I got on this pretty fast. I'm not somebody who, again, usually fans companies, but as soon as they announced this, man, my nostalgia hit in and I had to jump in on it. If you remember the original Pebble Round, there was a giant bezel. Giant. I still have it. Let me try to pop up on the screen. Let me see. There's my Pebble. The original Pebble Round. Giant bezels. As you can see, mine is a bit damaged. I can't even get it on the camera right, but it had an accident. You can see the rust marks at the top. It wasn't water resistant, and more importantly, it was not humidity resistant. So I went to a very humid country, Singapore to be exact, probably 10 years ago maybe, and some water got in, damaged my screen. It still works all these years later, but you can't really see the display, and it's very dim compared to the newer Core 2 Duo. So this is the Core 2 Duo, the newer throwback version to the Pebble. And I have, of course, a specific watch face. You can change the watch faces. Pebble OS is now completely open source, so you can do what you want with it. You can build on top of it. Of course, you can make your own watch faces and apps and things like this. But once Pebble had been bought out by Fitbit, Fitbit had been bought out by Google, Google kind of didn't do anything with Pebble for the longest time and just let it sit there. And when they asked for Pebble back, they gave it back. They didn't give it back. They asked for Pebble to open source Pebble OS. And they were able to create new Pebble devices with it. And they were able to get the name back, which was really important as well. And this opens up so many possibilities for Pebble. I think companies that go open source and allow people to access the main OS of the device and really do what they want to do with it. I'm, again, super supportive of companies who are open source and allow people to really make the devices that they want to make. It gives a lot more possibility. I'm really curious to see if I could create certain watch faces for this device that could be more accessible. That would be my goal. I have no experience with creating watch faces, but according to the Pebble CEO, he said it's quite easy with AI. So I might use AI to try to create some watch faces for my Pebble. Could be a future project on the channel. Could be a future live stream. Watch me fail epically and lose my crap. I am not good at coding. I am not even mediocre. I'm a rage coder. So if I'm coding, I used to do front-end development, a lot of input for accessibility and things like that, but I have no patience in that realm. I'm really frustrated. So if I do it, it's going to be with AI perhaps to help calm me down and vibe code a little bit. So I'll look into it for that and see if I can maybe make some awesome custom watch faces that are a little bit more accessible. But there is a Pebble device that came out that I have a really big if about, and it's the first time that I've had that with this company. And that if involves, of course, their new ring. They have a smart ring, the Pebble Index 01. So basically, it's a smart ring. It's not a health tracker. So if you're looking for an Aura type of ring, it's not it. It's literally like a smart assistant. You can press a button, take voice notes, I believe. I don't know who this device is for or what it's for. I think it could be a accessibility tool for people who want to launch certain apps or perform certain actions on their phones, who wouldn't be able to necessarily open their phones easily or things like that. I think there could be some accessibility options implemented with this tool. I haven't pre-ordered this. I'm really on the fence about it because you can't replace the battery. It's a single-use battery. It's not rechargeable. It lasts about 2 years according to their research and their use cases. There's no paid subscription, which is a positive, I guess. But I don't use smart rings. I don't know. It looks weird to me. I don't know. It could be great for people who have ADD and really forget things or have multiple ideas running through their head at the same time, I'm sure, to create those notes, grocery lists, things like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those devices Pebble released. I'm just like, do we need that in life? Is it necessary? I don't think so. It's a gadget for sure. A notebook might work fine if you have some ideas. Voice notes on your phone, or I don't know. I just feel like it's not there. Also, it does have integrations with AI, I believe, that you can use with it. You can use it primarily like an AI assistant, and that just puts me off. Ugh. As soon as you start putting AI in your devices, I'm done. I'm really not going to vibe with it. The battery lasts for years. Apparently, you can send it back and they can recycle the battery. But again, why can't we just make replaceable batteries for things like this? Kind of like a watch, or in that situation, I don't know. It's a strange device. It's secure and private. It's encrypted, I guess. I don't like smart rings. I'm not a smart ring person. It's a hard sell. I'm glad I'm not having to sell this product because I couldn't sell it. It's not my vibe. Not my vibe, guys. But I'm jumping back in the chat. I can't see the chat very well. I had a huge accident before I started this live stream. I spilled coffee all over my desk. Love that. Love that for all of my tech. Went right into my device drawer. Everything smells like coffee. Beautiful. Let me try to increase the size here. I hate not having a keyboard, traditional keyboard to zoom in anymore. Can't zoom in. Let me try to zoom in with this actually. Ding, ding, ding. I wish, honestly, that YouTube made more accessible streaming options. Is that too much to ask for? Can we make more accessible chats to pop out? Can we help your disabled streamers? Can we do that? Okay, I'm gonna jump back in to the chat. Pop out the chat. It is so complicated to make something. There we go. Okay, thoughts on Blue Fox NX1. Let me look it up real quick. Blue Fox NX1. Blue Fox NX1. Shout out. Please feel free to drop any devices that are coming out in 2026 that you might want me to look at. Ooh, what is this? Small phone. I guess is the Blue Fox. Let me try to share my screen with you guys so you can see what it looks like. I can't see my cookies. Okay. Okay, so it could be something that you could use similar to a Jelly Star or something smaller. I think it's a great small phone. How's the price? $135? What version of Android is it running? Camera, Samsung, 4-inch display. Android 15, not too old, not too young, but not too old. I think for a small phone option, it could definitely be a choice. I mean, look how tiny it is. She's thick though. She's not skinny. It's a thick little guy, but I think it's cute. Like, I don't think it's, I like the look of it more than the Jelly Star. I like the sharper edges more than rounded edges. I think it looks good. I haven't used one or haven't heard of the performance of them, so I can't attest to it. But for a small phone option, the battery's quite large too for the small phone. If you're using it, some cases, some accessories, doesn't look bad. It's probably not the most performing device, but the price is right for a small phone. Look, you want to go gaming on it. You really want to make your life miserable. Game on the small device. A core processor. Does it have expandable memory? I love small phones. Sounds crazy for someone who can't see, but I do like small phones. Wow, you can have 8 hours of TikTok playback. My gosh, that's exactly what I need. I don't need to see this. This makes me sick. 9 hours of calling on WhatsApp. 9 hours of Spotify playback, which I don't support Spotify either. Could you put a custom ROM on this? That's the question. Then it becomes a little bit more interesting. I don't know what processor they're using, so can I root it? That's the question I want to know. Yes, the NX1 can be rooted. However, please note that rooting the device will void your warranty. Yeah, always like that though. So it can be rooted. That makes it a little bit more interesting. Yes, let's root it. I don't know if I want this device though, but it is interesting. I use primarily an old iPhone SE from 2016 when I want to use a small phone. I'm going to pop it on here, actually. I was trying to use it recently, as recent as 2 days ago. Let me see if I can find it. I'll give you guys a little bit of update. If you weren't here for the beginning of the stream, I'm back on a digital minimalism kick for mental health reasons. I went off the deep end with my devices, and I can't find my iPhone. I lost it. But I'm back on the Light Phone 3. So for those of you who know or don't know the Light Phone 3, it is very restrictive. Let me pop it on here and see if I can share my screen again. So I'm using Light Phone 3. I know the angle of my camera is not great. I try to lower the brightness. So I am using this at the moment as my daily driver. Sorry for my webcam refocusing and focusing. It doesn't know what it's looking at. Most people don't when they look at this device. But these are the apps I have running on it. Super non-distracting. The one thing I really have complaints about for this device, of course, that I've said in previous videos and why I didn't review the device on my channel is the lack of accessibility. It looks very accessible. The main menus are accessible. I think if you're just looking at it black and white, it's the most accessible choice you can make. You can't modify the size of anything on the launcher or even within the apps. You can go into preferences. There are some display options, but there's like invert colors you can do. So if you have a problem with the black, you can invert it. I prefer to have it as is. But if you go to the accessibility settings themselves, you only have hearing aid options. So I mean, that's great for those of you using hearing aids and want to connect your device, but there's no other accessibility. There's no speech to text or anything to modify the display. So that's a major issue for me. I can see that the focus is awful for this camera. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to try something new and it just looks like trash stream. Also, the keyboard, it takes some getting used to, but I don't know if I ever will get used to it. When you're typing in, for example, in notes or any messaging, you can see that the keyboard layout is quite easy to see. I don't like how the cursor is down at the bottom for typing. It's too close to the keyboard. It's hard to see. The text, again, is very small for me. It's smaller than the keyboard text, and that's the problem. I can't see what I wrote. And when you're pressing the space bar, it's a thin line, and I often hit save instead of the space, so I'm having to go back. I'll hit save, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I don't want to save. I want to finish writing, and then I have to go back each time. So that's just a UI issue, I think, more than anything. It's not accessibility. And yeah, I'm not a fan of the keyboard, which is fine because that means I'll use the device less. But I've been, look at me like going back and trying to swipe things. I feel like a toddler who uses a flip phone and tries to swipe. I'm using it for now. I've been using it for 2 days and I'm trying to detox my brain into using devices in a healthy way. If you didn't join the channel when I started or in the beginning stages, I was going through digital minimalism a lot and trying to find ways to manage my smartphone and screen addiction. And my smartphone addiction is complicated because I get addicted to certain applications. This could be content consumption applications like YouTube, short form content on Instagram. Luckily, I didn't fall down TikTok's rabbit hole. But I've recently found myself getting more and more addicted to other apps that I wasn't seeing as potentially a problem. And this included AI, unfortunately. I hate AI and I hate it because it's addictive. as well. When you talk about asking questions or just trying to get ideas for things, you can go down the rabbit hole of different applications, comparing them, contrasting them. I fell down that rabbit hole many, many, many times. And as somebody who likes to learn or likes to know new things, AI, it will teach you a lot of things, but it will teach you the wrong things. And then you have to go down the rabbit hole of trying to find the right information. I hate AI. I hate it. 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 So I needed a device that had no possibility to use AI, no possibility to use YouTube to watch too many videos. And yeah, that's why I'm on the light phone. And with smartphone or screen addictions, it's continually evolving depending on which apps are changing, the way they design the apps, the way they make the apps, make them super addicting. And I know a lot of people struggle with gambling apps or with more nefarious applications, and I completely understand how it happens to anybody. You can be addicted to anything. You can be addicted to news. You can be addicted to the weather app. You can be addicted to your music app, the podcasting. I mean, even with the light phone, I'm still listening to too many podcasts. They should have put that on there. They should have made it even dumber. When you have a brain that's just searching for dopamine and any way to feel quick, easy happiness. Luckily, I don't do drugs, but a phone is an easy way for the brain to just kind of find quick hits of happiness. And it's very much designed for that. And unfortunately, I'm prone to it. Whether it's genetics or just bad luck, it feels like everybody in my family has some kind of addiction, and some are a lot more toxic than others. I'm not saying smartphone addiction can't be bad. You could lose a lot of money if you're in gambling apps. You can you could really mess up your life in certain applications, but in general, it's just taking away time. It's taking away time you could be using for something better. I could be making more content. I could be doing productive things in my life, and my phone was taking that away from me, and I was letting it do it. And I know willpower is something that you need to have, but when you have an addiction, your brain doesn't give a crap about your willpower. You know you're not supposed to be wasting 12 hours a day on your device, and you still do it because your brain is like, no, you need to feel good. You need to keep doing this. You numb yourself. Think about something else. Don't deal with your problems. And this all kind of relates to, just mental health in general. But when you have a progressive disease, and in my case, my eye disease, for those of you who don't know, I am pregnant at the moment, and my disease is greatly impacted by inflammation, and pregnancy is just nothing but inflammation. So my eyesight is already decreasing again. And I knew this would happen. It's just a risk/benefit situation in my condition. And it's hard. It's hard to manage losing more vision when I don't have that much to begin with, and to deal with it and to mentally go through the grieving process of losing yet again another big substantial amount of vision. It's hard to deal with. And so I think I gravitate towards my phone or ways to not think about it. And unfortunately, that was my smartphone. I know that's why I do it. I know that's the reason I get down that way, but I have to get out of it. And digital minimalism is a great way to kind of refocus your life a little bit. It's a lifestyle I can't live 24/7. I know it's just not possible for me, but I can do it in small spurts just to really regain some traction and break the cycle. And I'm really trying to do that right now with the light phone. Hopefully I get out of it and I'm able to use my device sooner than later, but I can't trust myself at the moment where I'm at mentally, I guess, with my phones. It's a struggle. And it's a struggle when you see people around you always on their phones. And I don't know, it feels like no one else cares about their their time, I guess. I don't know. I'm not judging other people, but I feel like I could be like, hey, you could get some of that time back. Here's a digital minimalism tip. Laura, the Q25, there is a custom keyboard app with many extra accessibility options, very responsive developer. Yay! I'm so happy to hear about that. Happy, happy, happy. I'm really excited about getting the Q25. I don't know when it's coming. I got the notification email. I don't know if I'll get an option to choose a color. I don't know if I'll get that extra email, or I'm just going to default black one. I don't care. I don't really care which one I get, as long as I get it. I'm really happy about supporting projects like the Q25 project. I'm really looking forward to when they do the Q10 reboot, which I think is the Q27 from Sinwa. So when that gets released, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm back in that one, because I love the Q10. It's my favorite BlackBerry. So once they touch on that project, I'll be into that. But globally in 2026, tons of new devices. Of course, in the realms of QWERTY keyboards, it's just an abundance. But I'm trying not to jump in and buy everything. I'm not doing a no buy per se, but I'm doing a responsible buy. I'm trying to really sit down and think, do I need this? And with tech, it's really hard. Like sometimes I'm just like, wow, that's super cool. Like I don't really think about if I need it or want it. Like I'm just like, oh, I can just get it and justify it by making content with it. I have so many devices that have never seen the light of day on my channel and probably never will, because either I didn't find the device useful, I didn't deem it worthy of being reviewed, I didn't use it in the end, so I'm not going to review something I don't use. I really want to try to be a responsible YouTuber, if that makes sense. Sorry. I can't stand watching channels review tech, and you know the tech has just been announced, so maybe they had a week or two tops with the device. For me, that's not really long enough to analyze and understand if a device is good or not. You're not running it through enough test, I would say, of real life circumstances, real life use cases, globally from different perspectives, how that device is going to perform day to day. You kind of go through the rhythms of just like, well, I'm just going to compare it to the previous versions if it's a device that's already been around. Some people are going to compare, of course, the cameras to the previous version, or the memory, the speed. Let's do a speed test. The average person doesn't care about the speed test. We just want to know, will it open or crash apps? It's just, we don't need to know the exact speed. And that's kind of why I like certain tech reviewers like Jerry Riggs. Everything. It's just, can I make this device break? Will it blow up if I do certain things to it? It's just, yeah. I'm just really overwhelmed with all of the information that came out of CES and all of the content. People are just positive and glowing about. I come out with more questions. I didn't go to CES, and if I did, I would have probably been the cynical CES person. First things first, the carpet at CES is so ugly. I'm blind, and I can see how ugly that carpet is. So I wouldn't be able to focus on any of the tech looking at that carpet. But as far as the tech itself, I have a hard time when companies are selling a product that A, doesn't exist yet, B, has more questions than answers for a lot of things, and C, I don't like marketing babble. I don't like keywords. I don't like everything is positive and everything is great. This is the best ever. This is this, that, trying to sell it 100 times. My eyes glaze over. I wouldn't be able to promote projects like that. And I know with my channel in particular, a lot of companies don't want to work with me because I go from a perspective of accessibility first and foremost. A lot of companies aren't accessible, and a lot of companies don't want to show that they're not accessible. So that just knocks me out of the realm for so many reviews. another perspective is I'm not going to sell your stuff unless I believe in it or it is decent. And I'm not going to lie for you. I'm not going to spout your marketing babble. I'm not going to read a script for you because I can't read while I'm recording because I can't see. I would literally have to hold it up to my face to read the script. And I don't think that's going to help anybody. I don't think that's what people look for when they look for reviews. I think they look for something different, something useful to get out of it, and not just look at these pictures I can take with the phone. If the pictures are bad, I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to show that it's not very user-friendly, or it's very honest and authentic reviews that I try to go after. And only certain companies want that. Companies that are confident in their product to speak for itself, or are happy to have certain aspects laid out that they are missing and that they could improve upon, because no company's perfect. No device is perfect. Every device has difficulties, has flaws, has things they can do better. And I feel recently with a lot of tech products that are being released, everything is positive, positive, positive. Great, great, great. Super fantastic. Nothing wrong. Everything is super, like, way too positive. And it comes off as inauthentic and gross. Like, I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to add to the slop that's already being pushed for certain things, when I think we should be questioning things. I think there should be a lot more critical thinking when you're purchasing items. These companies are competing for your money. They don't have your interest at heart. They have your money at heart, and you need to remember that. I know for myself, I need to remember that. We can't just be fans of these companies and think they think the best of us, or they want to make the best things for us. We have to think, will this improve my life? Is this something that I need? Is it something that is going to be able to do this, that, or this task? Will it perform this properly in this certain situation, depending on where I live, the weather, temperatures? Does it have accessibility settings? How much will it cost for shipping? Simple questions like this. And I just have hesitations for a lot of companies and a lot of creators blindly promoting things that have more questions than answers for me. I just can't do it. And I'm probably going to fail as a YouTuber because I'm just not going to sell things. But there are certain companies who do care about certain aspects. I know from my perspective, I'm trying to be more focused on open source, on privacy, of course, and on sustainability. And I have huge perspective on accessibility and things that I think could help people and in certain situations. So I think for my channel, I have a responsibility to uphold that when I'm reviewing content or reviewing devices, of course. And I'm going to keep that perspective. I'm not going to cater to the mass markets. I'm not going to cater to marketing for companies when they have marketing teams. Most of these companies, they can do that themselves. And yeah, it's a weird situation. It's a weird situation to be in as a creator. I understand why creators do the things they do, but I can see through it now that I've done it for almost 2 years now. This channel's been running, at least for the long form videos, which is crazy to me. The time has flown by so fast. I've learned so much. God knows my streams. Hopefully I've improved since I started. And my content itself, I really try to get different styles of videos and different ways of interpreting things. But I'm growing as a person, I'm growing as a content creator, and my content's evolving. And it's not always going to be the same. I'm really happy with the community that I have, really supportive and guiding me on certain subject matters. I really appreciate it. Without the community and the support from everyone, from members to people in my Discord to people in the live streams, of course, it really gives me perspective of what people want to see, how they want to see it. And I'm trying to be as honest and authentic as possible, which isn't always easy in the world of social media. I'm trying to be, of course, very open and transparent that I'm not perfect. I have issues. Even though I don't discuss digital minimalism as much anymore, I'm obviously still struggling with smartphone addiction. And when I'm dealing with issues like that, it really irks me when I see companies using doom scrolling as a marketing key term to really reduce people from using specific devices. I'm being specific about the clicks communicator in this case. If I go back to their main screen, designed for doing, not doom scrolling. When I see things like this, it really, really pisses me off, to be honest, because as somebody who really struggles with doom scrolling on anything, and when I'm in a bad state, a device like this that has full Android access, there's nothing preventing me from doom scrolling on this device. Yes, the screen is smaller. It might not be as attractive, but will I stop me? No. For those of you who don't know, I have a smartwatch that had apps on it. I had an Apple Watch at one point. I would still doom scroll on that. So if you're using doom scrolling and kind of trying to cater to people's issues with their devices and their relationship in a negative term and trying to market it as something that's going to make you use something less from somebody who is very addicted to their device, for me, this is, it's almost like promoting cigarettes as a healthy activity or promoting alcohol as a great social lubricant, and not identifying that it's not solving or helping you in any healthy manner just by the fact of you putting the marketing doom scrolling on there. There's no friction on this device besides the size and the form factor. There's not enough for somebody who's really struggling at that moment. Maybe people are struggling and don't realize how bad their addiction is for smartphones or devices, but it's misleading, and I can't stand behind it. I can't stand marketing when people use the word doom scrolling at this point. It's almost as cringy as hearing AI or anything of the sort. I don't think marketing people should be using those terms just to get more people to buy their product in hopes of that it will cure their addiction to their standard smartphone. You can be just as addicted to any phone that has full Android access, to be honest. And even some dumb phones can be addictive if you can sideload apps on them. So just a little thoughtful thing at the end of this live stream. Not many people will get to the end of the live stream, but those who do always like me when I'm rambling about certain things. So welcome to Laura Rambles at the end of this particular live stream. I'm probably going to end it in about 5 minutes for anyone who's curious. So I will ramble for a few more minutes. And it's getting dark because it's still winter time in France. And it's, besides my digital minimalism issues, I'm trying to kind of go back to an analog lifestyle of writing. Again, it's difficult to write when you're visually impaired, but I have found a way with thicker felt pens and writing bigger, of course, and good lighting and things like that. So that does help improve certain aspects. I'm trying to find ways to entertain myself without using digital tools, to be specific. And it's really hard. I did pick up a lot of hobbies last year, but I did drop a lot of hobbies as well. So I need to pick up some more offline activities to do. There are a lot of offline meetups, especially in Paris. And there are more and more cafes and places promoting deconnecting from your phone. There are certain cafes in Paris that I would like to try. If you put your phone into a bin, they can give you 10% off of your order if you stay disconnected. So that's pretty cool. So I would really like to try that out. I'm trying to get into reading. I have to read on an e-reader though. I can't read a regular book because of the font size, and the contrast is not optimal, but I do try to read as much as I can. But I can also get addicted to reading, so I have to be very careful with that as well. I could go into a hole, not eat or sleep because I love a book so much. I really have an addictive personality for certain things, and reading's another one. You can't have too much of a good thing. I'm just gonna put that out there. You can do too much. Music, I try to listen to. I have CDs. I have a CD player. Crafting. My Legos back here. I do like off-brand Legoing for now. Regular brand Legos are getting crazy expensive. But yeah, otherwise I'm open to any hobby suggestions. Walking when the weather's nice. Sports. I used to do a lot of hiking, but now I am getting pretty pregnant, so sports and physical activity is getting harder. I know I have to do it, but it's not fun. It's not easy. And it's another motivation having another child and trying to be disconnected when that child is small and not be an image of a parent with their phone in their hands for a baby. I don't want my baby to see me holding a phone and looking at a phone all the time rather than looking at my face. And I know when my son was born 5 years ago, it was the same. I didn't want to be addicted to my phone then during that period. And now, again, it's a push for me to be a better person, to have a child, and to try to be the best version of myself. And it's a big motivator. It's something that I want my children to be around and have a role model or an example of someone who might struggle with certain things, but also is trying to work through them and find ways around that and find better ways to live, to show that nobody's perfect. We can all do better in things, but being on a device and seeing everyone around you in a world that's on their device, from ages 5 up until 100. Honestly, I'm sick of seeing people on their devices all the time in a world that we live in. Everyone's connected to a screen, and raising my child in that is just so dystopic. It's so depressing. It makes me feel gross. It's to be minimalist Steve. Steve, welcome back. Are you not a minimalist anymore, Steve? I'm back on my digital minimalism, but I try to be minimalist. Yeah, so trying to clean up my digital addiction before another child arrives, trying to just be a better person. I know a lot of people, when they have life changes, try to quit smoking or drinking. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't even drink caffeine anymore. I'm drinking like a decaf coffee. I live pretty mundane and boring life in general, but I do have the one ick on my back, which is the smartphone addiction. And it's something like you think that you have managed or you can deal with, and it comes back when you least expect it. That's the worst part about things like that. There's no cure to addiction. And no matter what you're addicted to, you might even transfer to a different addiction. There's no cure. You're just more prone, I think, to have an addictive personality for certain things. And it's something that you always have to deal with. And I think mentally it's hard to put yourself in that situation and be like, you know what? Not have to deal with this again. I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I want to be done. I want to fix it. I want to be done. It'll never be done. Still, but life has not been very good. Getting there again. Good for you, Steve. I hope things get better for you. Everyone's going through some rough crap right now. Life is not easy for anybody. Everyone has their issues. I know I have mine. Mine are relatively small compared to some people, and some issues are big though. I mean, I'm going through big health changes, of course, being pregnant, but losing more of my vision because of my pregnancy has been very hard. It's never easy dealing with things, health or otherwise. And I feel for people out there dealing with financial difficulties, job losses, your country falling apart. It's just, the world is not fun, and it is not being very gentle to the world, to people. That's why we have to be kind to each other, kind to ourselves. I'm really hard on myself. I know that I get a lot of comments of people saying, stop being hard on yourself. I'm just generally like that. I know it's a flaw, another critique on myself, but I like to reflect on things and to improve things. Will I be perfect? No, but I'm a perfectionist, so there's always something to fix, and there's always something to improve. That's just life. It's been hard, nearly everyone I know. Can only get better. Yeah, we're gonna make it a better year, everybody. Oh God, we're gonna do better. We're gonna make it awesome. Even if everything is burning around us and we're that dog that says everything is fine in the fire, we're gonna make it better. We're gonna do it. I refuse to let my year go to crap because everything around me is going to crap. Just gonna be positive as I can. As positive as I can. Positivity. I enjoy listening to your opinions and insights. Like listening to me. This is the ramble section of my live streams. I structure my live streams as I have a subject in the beginning, I go into it, and it quickly devolves into rambling and philosophical babble, insights, personal issues towards the end. Time usually lines up with me arriving at work, so it's nice to start the day. Oh, thanks, John. See me in the comments of your videos again. See? Better already. Come on, leave some comments. I love comments. Sometimes, though, it's really hard for me to reply to comments because YouTube has designed the comment section for creators to manage very poorly. Only the top comments it deems that it wants me to reply to will appear. So I have to go in manually to my videos to reply to a lot of comments, which is super frustrating, especially videos that have a lot of comments. It's really difficult for me to get in there and reply as much as I can. I try to reply to everybody if possible, but that's not possible. I'm going to be realistic. I don't know how some YouTubers do it. I think a lot of YouTubers don't do it. So that's the easy answer. Just ignore it. Just don't look at comments. I love looking at comments. Even negative ones. It doesn't really, at worst I won't reply to it, but I'm just going to leave it there. Those of you just watch, that's good for me too. Oh, it's cool. Nice backlog of content. I like when people go away, come back, have extra content, or when people discover the channel recently, they have a lot of videos to watch. I'm very envious of that. I love when I discover a new channel. There's a girl who's renovating houses, and I'm like, oh, I hope she has a lot of videos so I can go back and watch them all. And yes, a lot of content creators have years of backlog, and I can lose my days watching that backlog. I love YouTube for that. I love going back and looking at people's content that they've created, watching the evolution of channels too. Newer YouTubers, more experienced YouTubers, the content changes so much. I know my content looks horrific. I mean, Steve will be able to attest to my older content. The newer content's a lot better. I have evolved on this channel. Things are changing. I tried to do new setups. I'm having difficulties specifically recently with DaVinci Resolve. Many of you know that I use Linux for most of my work, and I was using it to edit, and for some reason DaVinci was no longer working on Fedora. I ended up getting a used Mac Mini Pro 2 M2. So I got a used one last month to use DaVinci Resolve to edit as well, and it stopped working. DaVinci Resolve doesn't work on my Mac or on my Linux computer, and I'm kind of stuck. I had to use the godforsaken CapCut to edit my video last time, and it was just awful. I purchased DaVinci Resolve to use the studio version, and I can't use it on any device that I have, and I don't know what to do. I'm really losing my mind with it. I might have to reset my Mac and reset everything on my computer to try to get it to work, and that's stupid. It's really dumb. I'm losing my mind, and I just want to create content and edit it. That's all I'm asking for, and nothing wants to work. Plus, I'm pregnant, so everything pisses me off. I have zero patience for tech at the moment. For those of you who don't know, when you're pregnant, you lose 30%, or your brain shrinks 30%. So the pregnancy brain is real, and I noticed that quite evidently in tech, and my patience for troubleshooting. I'm really angry with my ability to get things to work on my Slimbook at the moment, more notably DaVinci Resolve. It takes a lot of patience to install and test and really get things to work properly, and I don't have it. I don't even have the patience to install an app without getting pissed off at this point. So it's really limiting on the videos and the content I can do if I can't edit properly, or if I can't use my devices the way I want to. I've been in a limbo for the past couple weeks, and it's frustrating because I really want to put things out. I really want to make content, and I've made videos and I just can't edit them. So it's just, I don't like using CapCut because it is a Chinese company that uses AI. And when you're using that particular software, you give away your permissions for it to use your content to train the AI. So I'm really against that. I don't want to use it. I don't want to use Final Cut because I don't want to pay for it. I don't know. I just want to use the stuff that I own. Kano is really good. Watch even in the early stuff. One of your early subs, good to be back. Welcome back. Q25s are all black now. One day will just be in your mailbox or on your doorstep. That's how it is. I'm worried about that. I'm home every day, so I'm hoping whoever delivers my Q25, it will just be here properly. I already have a case for it because I have an old case from my Q20 or my BlackBerry Classic. So I'll be using the case. But that's the long story short of where my content is at the moment. It's a mess. It's always a mess here. Hot mess express content creation here. I think a lot of people have high expectations for many YouTubers to create high quality content and create a lot of it. And a lot of people need to realize that many creators, especially in smaller niches such as digital minimalism, intentional tech, or very niche device reviews, these people have full-time jobs generally. I don't. I should. Disabled. I'm struggling. I'll probably get a real job sometime. But this is kind of my everything. With that being said, everyone has to film, edit, prepare, do all of the additional admin behind the scenes of creating content, which does take a lot of time and a lot of effort. And videos aren't easy to create spontaneously or edit well and find the interesting topics, create the thumbnails, the descriptions, all of those boring tasks that go with having content. It takes a lot of time. Is it difficult? No, it's just time consuming, and it's a bit of a big pain in the butt. And I think a lot of content creators have been outsourcing that to either editors or even using AI for a lot of editing tasks or description creating, thumbnail generation. There are businesses running for that for YouTube. So people really spend a lot of time and money creating thumbnails. I should focus more on that because kind of get your content seen. It's evolved again, but that's just the behind the scenes of YouTube. It's not so straightforward and easy as people may make it look. The whole setup for this live stream is kind of crazy. It feels like I'm in an enclosed tomb of wires and cameras in my face. I have a camera up here, I have a camera over here, I have a microphone here, I have wires and keyboards, and just I'm blocked into my seat. I can't even get up. It's really bad. But it looks great. It's a lot of side questing. And I know for myself, I wish I had a team of people. I wish I had even an assistant for some things, but I don't. It's all on my own. It's all in my own wheelhouse of creating the content and doing the things that I need to do. It's all on me, business emails, all of that situation. I don't have a management team or hundreds of people working for me. And it's really hard when your content is compared to people who do have all of those resources and all those teams. It looks like crap, my content, of course, compared to somebody who's a professional and has a professional team. You're comparing apples to oranges at that point. You're not going to get the same quality of content from my channel that you would from a giant tech channel. We're not in the same category. We're not on the same planet, perhaps. But on the other hand, I think when you watch YouTube, some people don't want that anymore. I know for myself, the lower the production value, the higher quality the content or the discussions being had is more important to me than, I don't know, the lighting or the jump cuts and the crazy scenes that can be seen in some YouTubers. I'm not attracted to that kind of style of content, maybe because I'm old or maybe because I'm visually impaired, and some visual things like jump cuts or different edits can be disturbing to some people. It's not calm. It's not teaching me anything. If it's not teaching me anything or I'm learning something, I'm probably not watching it. Or if somebody's not relatable, if somebody's not being authentic or genuine, I don't like it. I don't like watching ads. And a lot of videos have become that, unfortunately. And a lot of creators rely on that. If you're just relying on YouTube to help pay the bills, you're gonna be homeless. That doesn't pay well. Unless you're a giant YouTuber, it's really difficult to make a living. And those who do have worked really hard or have gotten really lucky. And the rest of us are scraping the bottom of the barrel. And I'm not complaining. I'm really happy the situation I'm in, that I'm able to do. I'm creatively free. I don't have any obligations to produce content for somebody at a certain time period, a certain deadline, in a certain way. I don't have to read a script. I don't have ad reads. I'm as independent as they can get. And I really enjoy that. I love the freedom. I love being able to critique something and not worry about a company coming at me and saying they're not going to pay me for my sponsorship or something like this. I want to stay that way. I don't want to be bought out. I don't want my opinion to be influenced to a degree where I can't objectively judge a company or their device anymore. I kind of want to stay away from that. I miss old YouTube is what I'm saying. I'm so old. I miss this app before it became a slop fest of AI, ad reads, overproduced content. I just want authentic people talking about their lives, their experiences, their everyday uses for certain items. I feel there's a lack of authenticity that people are craving. I know for myself I'm craving. Maybe no one else is craving it, but I feel there's a reminiscence or a nostalgia for a time when things were a little bit simpler and a little bit more straightforward, and you could really take people's word for it. And now we question everything. I know every video that I make, somebody said this is an ad, this is AI, this is that. And it's good to be skeptical because chances are it is, and you're not probably wrong for most videos, but some people are still authentic and not AI and are creating their own content or have their own beliefs on certain devices. But it's really hard to portray that to people. It's really hard to express it. There is a lot of shady activity happening with people not labeling their content as sponsored when it should be sponsored, or noting that they have contractual agreements with certain companies or affiliations with companies or hidden deals, whereas we'll give you this device, but you can make the content, or there's a lot of shady stuff happening. And these kind of things I didn't realize existed until I became a YouTuber, and my eyes were opened, of course. But I think people who watch YouTube have become more aware of it as well, or even people who watch short form content. I think most people assume everything's an advertisement at this point, and they're probably right. People have links. If you look at a link in a description, they're selling you something. They're getting commission. They're getting something from that. And if it's not disclosed, that's illegal. And it should be mentioned by the creator, or by clicking the sponsored button when you're creating content. But I'm noticing it less and less, and it's not being, I want to say policed, but it's not being controlled the way it should be in all platforms, not just YouTube, but every platform does this. Every way that you can promote something, people are going to try to do it, because people who are content creators, 100% of the time, it's very difficult to make a living off of content creation. And you have to find ways to hustle. It's a hustle culture, as much as we don't want to say it. It is. It's very much the modern version of being outside playing the guitar, asking for money. It feels like that. It feels gross sometimes. I know, as a content creator, for myself, I can only imagine some other ones out there of what they're actually doing. The ad on the Q25 app is developed by Lambduck. So it says in one Discord, cheap and worth it. Awesome. Thanks, Basketball Steve. I'm going to check it out. I've been on the Zenwa Discord quite often, so I'm going to check it out. Lambduck. Copying it, and I'm pasting it into my notes so I don't forget. Notes. Or maybe I should write it down. Oop. I started the year with a planner as well. I'm using a paper planner. I haven't used one of these for years. But I kind of like getting back to paper. I feel connected. Can I see everything I write sometimes? No, I cannot. I cannot read everything. I'm going to write this down. Lambduck 1607. Okay, I wrote it down. Writing it down. And I feel writing is very cathartic and really helpful for the memory. Somebody who's not in a great space for memory at the moment. It really helps me. And it helps me do things. When I write it in a planner, I'm just like, I have to do it. It's on my planner. Today's live stream was on my planner. I planned it last week, and I did it because it's in my planner. If it's not in here, or I haven't thought about it, then I forget to do it, or I just postpone it and replace my time with doom scrolling. So, little habits. I know a lot of people are against New Year's resolutions. I'm one of those people. I don't like the word resolution. I prefer goals or something to work towards, but I like self-improvement when I can. Do I ever stick with anything? No. Have any hope for a decent Linux phone with almost flagship specs and affordable price in 2026? The only phone that I'm really backing this year with Linux is the Jolla phone, the 2026 one. It has decent specs compared to their previous version. Is it affordable? More so than a flagship, but it's still expensive, especially compared to their previous model. I haven't checked out the competition so much because I'm really focused on European companies for Linux at the moment. What else can I say about? I don't see too much happening as far as the Linux phone sphere at the moment besides Jolla. I think Jolla is the only one announcing a big upgrade to their phones. And yeah, I think if we get more people hyped about Linux in general for phones, then there'll be more competition. But at the moment, it's kind of stagnant. It's not moving and bumping. It's the Linux community in general, whether it be for Linux distros, computers, or things like that. They're not the type of community or companies to promote themselves. They kind of let their products speak for themselves. Unfortunately, that doesn't really work when it comes to mass consumption because people don't know about it. And that's what I tried to do with this channel too, is just kind of highlight companies doing pretty cool tech, especially in the realm of Linux and open source, that need more coverage and marketing, but in the way of authentic use case scenarios and device reviews from actual users and not bought and paid for. And I think I know people in tech review realms, especially in content creation, don't seem to touch on Linux because they are afraid of it. B, they don't use it and don't really want to promote it. And C, companies aren't paying them to do it, so they're not going to do it. And I think if you're a content creator and you're promoting Linux, it's because you really love it and you really want people to see the possibilities and what is available. And if more creators don't just talk about it and show the opportunities, there's not going to be enough buzz about it, and companies aren't going to create products for it because they're not going to see the financial value of it. But if people buy phones like the Jolla phone, like I did, and complain about certain things or say that it's an amazing project, but it could be improved, helps the company get more eyes on their product, more eyes on the company, gets more people excited about potential of that project evolving into something that could be mass consumption worthy and therefore have flagship specs and be a viable replacement for mainstream big tech. There's so much hunger and need for something different, whether that be the form factor of hardware, such as having a QWERTY keyboard, or the operating system being Linux, being open source, being at least an option to put a custom ROM on the damn thing. There's so much hunger for escaping the big tech evil walled gardens that have been created in ecosystems that there is possibility. But again, it's really hard to get those projects out, promoted, actual people who are passionate to try it and use it and give their honest opinions without expecting tons of kickbacks, because in Linux, a lot of it's open source. That's not paid. Like, it's unfortunate. There's a lot of donations to give to people, but unfortunately in the content sphere, if creators aren't getting free things, getting monetary kickbacks, they're probably not going to cover it. And that's a shame, because I'm happy to invest in something I believe could further, whether it be digital sovereignty, whether people having more choices and options. I think for humanity, it's a good thing to really have competition and different options besides two stupid operating systems. This doesn't make any sense. It's not interesting. And I really, really, really want to focus a lot more on open source and Linux, of course, being one of those things. And it's something that I find the entry point can be difficult for people, because there's a lot of stereotypes. There's a lot of old ideas about Linux that just aren't true anymore. I know when I create content about switching to Linux, people are like, well, I'm not tech savvy. Well, neither was I when I started Linux. Nobody is. And if I can do it, I believe anyone can. I'm legally blind. I had no experience with Linux. If I can get it up and running and do most of my work as a content creator on it, I mean, unless you're having very specific use cases, which you can dual boot, you can use both, which I don't know how to do. I'm going to put that out there. I don't dual boot, but I know it's possible. And some companies will set it up for you. For example, I bought my laptop through Slimbook, which is a European company who, of course, gets most of their products from Asia, but assembles it, customizes it, and sets up your computer how you need it. They do dual boot as well, but I chose Fedora. There's options out there for people who maybe are scared, don't know how to do it, don't know how to set it up. There's options. There's options you can do it. And if you want to install your own Linux, it's super easy. It's super easy. You can even just put it on a stick and try it out. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. No one's forcing you. And it's free. But I do recommend donating to certain projects that are really useful. And I will always back products that I use. I will donate. I don't mind paying for something that's going to be maintained and something that I really appreciate. I think the developers deserve it, to be honest. Just because it's free doesn't mean you shouldn't give something. I mean, come on. I know we think things are free, but they're really not. When it comes especially to Google, it's not a free email service, guys. It's not free. You are the product. I've been looking for months now to replace my Pixel 7. It's very difficult for me to give up because Android Auto, Maps, and banking app support. What are your thoughts? This is true. If you're used to Android Auto, Maps, navigation, I highly recommend checking out getting a separate device for navigation, whether that be an old phone or a literal GPS like a Garmin or something for your car or TomTom. I think that could be, they're super cheap, especially used as well. And the maps are updated more or less every 10 years. But that's an option for people who really want to have navigation in their car, but might want to try a different device or get rid of a smartphone in general. So that's always an option. There are ways to use Linux with Android apps, especially Google apps, if you use micro G. So it is still possible. I know for my Jolla C2 community phone, I was able to use all of my Google apps without issue. Banking is another big problem. This depends on the bank. This depends on the country. There's so many factors that go into banking apps. I have some banking apps that work perfectly fine on devices like a Linux phone, and I have some that won't work at all. So it's really hit or miss. I generally keep one device. For example, if you wanted to keep your Pixel 7, keep all of the apps you absolutely need on that device, but don't use your SIM in it. Use a different device if you want. Carry it around if you need it as a backup, or just keep it on your desk at home. Access what you need to access. That's what I do currently. I've been using a light phone, for example, and every app I need for banking, my kids' school, anything I could possibly need, I just leave it on my Pixel on my desk, and I don't touch it unless I need the specific app. Because I do need certain apps. There's just no way to get around it, but I don't need all those apps 24/7. So I kind of leave it as a home phone situation. And for example, I had problems even with phones that weren't Linux-based phones for banking, depending on the operating system that you put on your device. I'm speaking of custom ROMs, for example. I know for the Fairphone, I had EOS, and my personal banking app usually works on everything. It works on my Linux phone. It works on God knows any custom ROM I've ever used before, but for some reason with EOS on Fairphone, my bank was not having it. It was calling me. It blocked everything. It was a big mess. It's really hit or miss. There's some apps that are really, really restrictive, like Revolut, American Express. They're a bit old school that way, at least American Express. Only Google services. But you can use micro G on Linux to get most apps to work. Banking, again, it's hit or miss. It really depends on your bank. So the answer, we don't have Jolla in a North America reseller. Sadly, I'll probably install custom ROM on Pixel until then. Something interesting available. Yeah, it's unfortunate that Jolla doesn't send to North America or have a partner that's selling in North America at the moment. I know a lot of Canadians are very interested in the Jolla phone as well, which is understandable, and Americans as well. It will work in North America without issue with the bands, but it's just shipping the device there. It's either you have to know somebody who can ship it to you or use a third-party company that can do that. And it's going to cost an arm and a leg, I'm sure. But it will work as far as bands are concerned. Maybe in the future they'll have a reseller option. The only issue I would see in the US happening is carriers blocking it if it's not on their list, or I know Verizon is notoriously difficult for devices. That would be my biggest worry of using it in the US particularly. I prefer Garmin. Its layout is consistent and has far more information. Garmin is really good. If you're using a GPS for your car, I would think Garmin is the best. I have an old TomTom. It is so simple. UI is very dumb, but it still works. Bought it back in 2007. Yeah. Still works. Still kicking it. It's like a square screen. I don't drive anymore personally, so don't take my word for maps or navigation. I'm a passenger princess because I don't have a license because I'm blind. If I'm driving, there's a problem. It's the end of the world situation. I guess I would try to drive to get away, but normal every day, I'm not legally permitted to drive unless I'm in the state of Pennsylvania. Fun fact, you can drive pretty much legally blind in Pennsylvania. It's crazy. Yes, I'm drinking out of a Lockheed Martin cup. I am not sponsored by Lockheed Martin. What are your thoughts on Jolla OS being closed source? Actually, I didn't realize for a long time when doing my research. One Reddit reader pointed this out. Yeah, technically closed operating system. I have positive and negative thoughts about it being closed. I don't like the subscription model that they're using for the operating system. I hate subscription models. I don't have that model because I bought the device. I think if you purchase the device, you have the operating system and the use of it. I think if they have opened it up to open source, it would be better for the device and the operating system. But the company also doesn't have much funding. I think previously they were funded a lot and heavily by Russian financial backing, which of course, when the war in Ukraine had happened, they had lost a lot of funding for Jolla, evidently, and luckily so. They're not supported by Russia anymore. But yeah, I can't support non-open source, but I can still, I like the fact that it's Linux at the same time. It gives me hope that other open source projects like Ubuntu Touch and things like this could really take off with a little bit of competition if they see that another company can succeed. Because if Jolla succeeds even with a closed, selfish OS, another company could see that as like, hey, I can create a Linux phone with an open source and that will be better and people will be likely to improve it. And honestly, it could be a hell of a marketing tactic if somebody wants to invest in a phone. I'd believe that was true in Tennessee too. Yeah. It's driving. If you want to look up something interesting about driving and the visual requirements for driving, in Europe, every country is different. In the US, every state is different. I can't legally drive in France or in Florida in the US, but I can legally drive in Pennsylvania, which is where I was born. And I have family members who are legally blind who can legally drive in Pennsylvania. And yeah, I think in Europe they're trying to pass a more or less criteria for defining who can drive with visual impairments, but it's a mess. Every country is different. France, I'm not qualified though. I've lost it. I lost it a year ago. Okay. The stream is kicking on. I have a little bit of daylight left. What would I choose if the Jolla phone wouldn't be an option? I would choose, it's a company that I almost bought from. I think it's the Volla, the Volla. It's German. We got Volla, we got Jolla. Let me pull it up. Volla devices. Volla devices. So it's Volla, Volla. They have their own Volla OS, and they also have Ubuntu Touch devices. But the devices are a bit pricey. I'm not gonna lie. I hesitated to get a refurbished one, but it didn't go through. They didn't have it available. I wanted to get the tablet, actually, precisely. But every time I come on here, it's always in German, and I get confused. Let me put it in English. So they have phones. I have never tried Volla OS, so I'm very curious about it as well. And I've never tried Ubuntu OS, so Ubuntu Touch, I mean. But they have some cool accessories. They're German, and I'm keen to test one of their devices. I don't have the money for it for now, so I can't promise it, but in the future, perhaps, either a phone or a tablet. I'm leaning towards tablet, to be honest, because I don't have a Linux tablet, or one that I could convert to Linux at least. God, I have a crappy Lenovo. It's still working, so I'm still using it. For example, they used to have an older version, but they took it off here. So you can get it with Volla OS or Ubuntu Touch. I haven't used Ubuntu Touch. I've heard mixed reviews, so I'm not going to be one to judge. I don't know the specs of this particular device. They're a bit expensive. Frequently asked question, delivery, 3 to 10 working days. I should probably reach out to them. Maybe they will work with me. I'm trying to reach out to companies that I agree with and support. It's my goal in 2026. I'm trying to be motivated. I'm trying to be a good YouTuber and build relationships with companies that are interesting. But some don't want to work with me, so that's fine. Ubuntu Touch would have been useful if someone worked on that. It's my only complaint, yeah. Worth reaching out to them. You have an audience. Here's the market. Yeah, I should reach out to them. I reached out to Punked recently because I am interested in their MC03. And yes. No. I'm really interested in this device. Oh, I like it. I like it for the digital minimalism perspective and the privacy perspective. I reached out, but I haven't heard anything from them. I've reviewed their products before on my own. I didn't review the MP02. I did have it, but I didn't review it. My all-time favorite is MP01, not to be confused with the minimal phone, but I'm curious about this one. And I've had a lot of requests from friends about this device. I know it exists, but I haven't reviewed it. And a lot of, like I was saying earlier, a lot of companies don't want to work with somebody who is focused on accessibility because I think they might be afraid I might call them out. When that's not really my goal. I will show them where they can improve, of course, but when you see my channel, especially my channel page is like tech from a different perspective. So just like, oh, okay, she just focuses on accessibility. It's not just that perspective. It's a perspective of a lot of different things. But I think it's probably a branding problem on my side. It's something that I need to work on potentially for my channel, improve the vibe I'm going for. Maybe I need to make a new trailer video. Like, I hate big tech. That should be my banner. I hate big tech. And then watch me get no sponsors ever again. That'll just be the end of my YouTube career. I hate everyone. I hate Google, and then like I'm on YouTube. There's a lot of things from my side that I need to improve upon, of course, reaching out to specific companies like Vola. I've reached out to Punk. I've reached out to a couple more. Jolla, I mean, I'm talking with them, perhaps. I've backed their device, but I think they're sending me one. Woo, might be a giveaway. So, yeah, it's something I need to improve upon. I don't like begging or reaching out to companies in hopes of getting free shit. That's not what I'm trying to do with companies. I would love to promote companies that I believe in. Like, I do need to reach out to Vola because I do want to support other Linux-focused companies based in Europe for sure. That's just up my wheelhouse. That's exactly what I'm going for. Shift Phone, yeah, another German company. I need to look into Shift as well. Germans are great. I love their products. I love their apps. I love the privacy perspective. Just need to make a list of companies. Shift, I'm going to put it down actually. People to email. Shift. Vola. Who else can I do? I've done Punks in Switzerland. I have a bit of an if with Swiss companies. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't trust them. They're not technically EU, so they could do whatever they want. How are you doing? Roman's here. I have reached late. Oh, don't worry. I'm going to be probably signing out here in a minute because it's getting dark. It's getting dark. Doesn't look like it in my lighting, I guess. I'm using my Pixel to film today, so the lighting looks pretty good actually, but it's pretty dark. Pretty dark. German company, their phones work with EOS, Android. Not sure if they have Linux, but they have replaceable batteries. I'm going to look at Shift. I saw Shift Phone come out recently. The problem is for me is the price at the moment. Okay, I don't want to go in there. That's not what I want. There's so many companies called Shift. I'm getting lost in the sauce. Leading kind of enterprise. Okay, Shift Technology, leading AI platform. There's so many. Shift Phone. Shift Phone, Shift Phone, Shift Phone. Yeah. As soon as you see sustainable technology, I'm thinking Germany. I'm gonna switch over. Shift Phone. Oh, look at that recycled cardboard. I love the German perspective on tech, sustainability, privacy, all of the good stuff. I love it. I fall for it every time. This one I was looking at, I think. Modular, sustainably built, repair it instead of throwing it away. Let's do this. Let's support all of these companies. Water protection despite modular design, which is pretty cool. That's impressive. Look at that beautiful modular design. 13 easily exchangeable modules, repairable with just a screwdriver. Love it, love it, love it. Custom key for your personal touch. Already excellent. I love the German marketing. Just no BS. Just here it is. This is what it is. We're going to change the world and make it better. Device deposit. How much is it going to cost? How much does this cost? That's a deposit. Is it for renting? Can you rent these? I would be curious for that. Deposit system, the many advantages, the concept. Of course, you have redeem your device deposits. Deposits have better unsustained. Follow the shift products. In addition, already sold out. Shift. So first say, like, I'm going to go for the shift 6. What does that do? I want to buy. Take my money. Sorry if I'm like making people sick with my scrolling. I really hate that too. I'm trying to find the price. I'm rolling here. Come on. Come on, website. Work. Shop. I wish I could speak German. $6.95 plus 22 deposit. Shift book. Shift sound. Shifty. This is a shifty company. I'm just kidding. It's not shifty. Not shifty in that sense. They have lights. Charger. It's a hefty price, but you're paying for. You can also just buy it, yeah. I will buy it if I have the money. I'm strapped with all these devices coming out now. I don't have any money. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm interested. Put it on my list of things to go for. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's hard to justify getting phones all the time though too. If I can get it and resell it, then I don't know the resale market for Linux phones. I don't know. I know for the buying back devices, a lot of companies only want the main players. They don't want Linux phones. So I would have to sell it on Vinted or somewhere, eBay, somewhere someone would understand what the actual product was because, it's just a financing way with them. Financing sounds like good. That sounds like the American way. Like a 500 month plan to pay for my device. Tons of micro consummation or micro finance loans. Super great. I guess I can do multiple payment plans. I just don't like payment plans. I don't want to be in debt anymore. I don't want to live that life. I left it behind in America. I left it. I'm okay having a mortgage, but I don't want to pay for crap and just make payment plans. I don't want to live that life. I've learned from my past. I have to save. I have to save for these devices or reach out to the companies. I'm weird about that. I just feel gross. It's a me thing. It's something that I'm not made for. I'm not made for somebody who's into sales and cold calling or cold contacting companies. I know I should be that way. It's more business minded. I did study business, so you'd think I would know a little bit better, but I don't. I just feel gross. I don't want companies, especially smaller companies, to feel that they need to give me something or they feel that I'm going to give them a shit review because they didn't give me something. I don't want them to feel that. I don't want to feel it. It feels gross. And I understand from their perspective and from my perspective. I don't mind building a relationship or trust or things like that, but it feels gross. It feels gross. It's like those influencers who call up restaurants or cafes and say, well, I'm an influencer, I'm coming in and I expect free food because I'm going to review it. And if you don't give it to me, I'm going to give you a bad review. That's exactly how I feel. And I feel like crappy influencers have ruined the sphere for legitimate people who could really help companies. I mean, I hope if they come and see my channel, they don't see that I'm like that. But, you know, how many companies really care what my channel looks like? I get a lot of requests to review lawnmowers still. Like every day I get one like, you should review this Segway lawnmower. I'm like, I don't want to review a robot lawnmower. It's just not my niche. It's not my specialty. I don't have a yard. I don't know why they keep contacting me. I don't get it. Absolutely hate the payment plan model. It sets people up to live above their means. Yeah. There's a lot of predatory payment plans. Klarma, all of those kind of things, pay multiple times. It just sets people up to be really in the shit. Like, and you don't realize when stuff is coming out of your account at one point, and it's dangerous territory. It's predatory is what it is. It's just predatory. Taking away from people who don't have the means at that moment, or especially when you're young, like I don't know. Credit cards are bad too. Everything's bad. Just bad. Student loans are bad. Everything's bad. We don't learn enough about financial literacy in school. At least in the US, I didn't learn anything. I learned how to write a check, and who writes checks anymore? I just stupid. They didn't teach me how to do my taxes. They didn't teach me how to budget. I didn't learn anything. It's probably in the interest of the country that nobody knows anything and just can get scammed. That's my theory now. It was purposely done not to teach me anything about financial literacy. Luckily now there's a ton of YouTubers doing finance YouTube videos. Really popular niche and really well paid. If you're looking to get into YouTube, check out finance. If you want to make the highest return on your videos. You wonder why there's so many of them. It's because they get the most money out of any content on YouTube. Finance. Go figure. I know nothing of it, so I'm not going to create that content. I would. Also, Mormons. If you make Mormon content or LDS or leaving the Mormon community, very high paid. Very high paid. Fun facts of content creation. Also not a Mormon, so I won't be doing that content. Imagine if you did Mormon finance content. We can combine them. A lot of bigger finance YouTubers aren't good people, though. They're crazy. Those people are crazy. The thumbnails don't make me want to click on it. They're mean. They're vicious to people who are in bad situations and maybe made some poor life choices, but you don't need to condemn them and make them feel even shittier about it. They're already broke. I mean, that's really, really putting people down in the worst point in their lives, probably. I think if somebody yelled at me like that when I was at my worst of student loan debt and working restaurant jobs and trying to stay afloat and put gas in my car, I probably would have had a mental breakdown or like not existed anymore, because that's not helping. That's really not helping people in that situation. And it's not, yeah, Caleb Hammer, it just makes me gag. It's gross. It's exploiting people and they're most vulnerable. I mean, can you imagine if I made content like that about people and their health conditions and just berate them like, you're just so unhealthy, and just have the awful, ugly looking thumbnails. Like, it's rage bait is what it is, and I don't agree with content that is rage bait. I understand you get a lot of views and a lot of money, but you have to go to sleep at night knowing that you made that money on the back of other people who suffered. Like, I don't know. I'm not a sociopath, so I'll never be rich. That's just what it comes down to. I have a conscience. I have empathy. I can't do that. I will never be a billionaire. I'll never be a CEO. I understand that. And that's unfortunate. I mean, if I was a sociopath, I could go so far in life. I could do so many things. I could run countries. I could I could go to space. I could do so many things if I just didn't care about other people. He probably does get them to agree. I'm sure at a certain point, some of the people he talks to are actors, or I don't know. Even then, at that point, like, I don't. It's gross. It's a gross way to make content to me. I know it's for entertainment value, but still, it's gross. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's that kind of content you watch and you feel secondhand embarrassment from. I don't like that feeling of watching someone's content and feeling, oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't. But there are other great finance YouTubers out there that are fun to watch and entertaining and actually give useful tips to people and are empathetic to people's situations. So there are other options out there besides the big ones. Mormon finance tips. Have your wife sign up for credit cards, each of you getting referral bonus. I would love to. This could be my new like April Fool's joke, starting a Mormon finance channel just to see how much I can gain from YouTube. Mormon finance. Should you declare your tithe before taxes or after? If you're a proper Mormon, you should claim them before you're taxed. There's so many subjects we could cover. I mean, if you have multiple wives, you could be bringing in some decent credit card points. Can you combine all those points and make a cheaper life? I don't know. There's so many things. I have no idea. I've never even thought about this content, but it could be a great spin-off to try to boost some money for this channel to get some more devices. But apparently it's because the Mormon Church does pay a lot of money for influencers to promote their lifestyle and promote their way of life. So they try to buy up all the keywords, and the keywords for Mormon being one of the highest paid is one of those reasons. I mean, the LDS, the Church of Latter-day Saints, has as much money as PepsiCo. So, you know, they have a lot of money. They have like $200 and something billion of net worth. So if I could find a way to create content to tap into that and use that money that was taken from people and try to help people with Linux, I can kind of justify it, I guess. Steal from the evil to give to everyone else. Just a thought. I don't know who would watch a Mormon finance channel, somebody who's not Mormon, and definitely doesn't have any financial advice. I could use AI, I guess, to try to inform myself a bit better, but it would be awfully weird. On that, I'm going to end the stream because it's just getting weird. But I want to thank everyone for joining in, checking in, people coming back to the channel after a long time. And if you're watching this later and you made it to this point, kudos, because that is a long stream. Thank you again so much for watching, and see you all soon, hopefully, at least in another video I'll be posting or a live stream next week. But have a good rest of your week. Have a good day. Make smart financial decisions. Finance, and Mormon Church.